Esteemed audience, thank you for tuning in to yet another amazing episode of the Great Debaters Contest. It gets better after every debate. This is the semi-final of Coast Region, Mombasa County. I am your host, Chris Bodro.
And I am Esperancia Kapanga. Today we are having the semi-final debates of this region, and our motion determining who will be the winner in this debate is terrorist groups should be engaged in dialogue.
In the proposition, we have the ladies from Ribe Girls High School.
And in the opposition, we have the defending champions from Season 8, Allidina Visram. First proposer, you have 3 minutes to make your submissions.
Although they say that tit for tat is a fair game, but I say that 2 wrongs can never make a right. Doing something bad to someone who did you wrong can never bring a positive impact. We see and think of the world in terms of separate objects, which are the source of many of today's problems. Mildred Akechi is my name, and I'm from Ribe Girls High School, and I'm here to boldly propose the motion that states terrorist groups should be engaged in dialogues. There are different types of terrorist groups. One is state-sponsored terrorism, which consists of terrorist acts on a state. The second one is decent terrorism, which are terrorist groups which have rebelled against their government. The third is criminal terrorism, which are terrorist acts used to aid in crime and criminal profit. Let me get down to business. Who are terrorists? Terrorists are people who use violence with the aim of furthering a political or ideological goal at the expense of the general population. What is to engage? To engage is to participate or become involved in something. A dialogue is a cooperative two-way conversation in which the goal is to exchange information and build relationships with one another. There are different types of conversations that the government can adopt in engaging the terrorists. One is a diatribe, whose goal is to express emotions, browbeat those that disagree with you. The other is discourse, whose goal is to deliver information from the speaker to listeners. But hey, my people, would you want to know the reason as to why I picked dialogue as the best way to engage terrorists? Number one, this is because dialogue brings peace. Let me elaborate on this. On 5th September 2010, ETA terrorist group found in Spain declared a ceasefire. On 20th October 2011, ETA announced a definitive cessation of its armed activity. On 24th November 2012, it was reported that the group was ready to negotiate a definitive end to its operation and disbanded completely. On 7th April 2017, it announced that it had given up all its weapons and explosives. Now, here's another great news. Great news, my people. On 2nd May 2018, ETA terrorist group made public a letter dated to 16th April 2018, according to which it had completely dissolved all its structures and ended its political initiative. I mean, isn't this a good news? So much news. I mean, it's so ironical that the doorpost, right there, just the doorpost, the Aldinians stated that they advocate for peace, reconciliation, and justice. But yet you don't support dialogue, yet it is a way of promoting peace. That's so ironical. I rest my case. Thank you.
First proposer, you have 3 minutes to make your submissions.
Members of the House, we are all human, and logic states that a man will always be held responsible for their actions. This is the basis of the rule of law. Terrorism being a heinous crime, compromise is out of order. Let me give you an example. We are all children in this room. And whenever a child commits a mistake, and all the parent can do is just talk to the child is likely to repeat the same mistake over and over again. But the issue is, if the child knows the repercussions for his or her actions, trust me, that child will never repeat the same mistake again. My team and I stand in favor of the rule of law and protection of innocent human lives at any cost. So, ladies and gentlemen of the House, this concludes my opening statements, and if I may present the evidence of my case, I will prove it. The motion of the day states that terrorist groups should be engaged in dialogue. What are terrorist groups? These are non-state actors who use violence or the threat of violence in pursuit of political, religious, ideological, or social objectives. Should. This is used to indicate obligation, duty, or correctness. To engage. This is to participate or become involved. A dialogue. This is a conversation between two or more people in order to obtain a particular objective. Straight away, let me get down to what I'm going to talk about today. According to Chatham House, engaging in dialogue could provide terrorist groups with the incentive, legitimacy, and funds necessary to fuel further criminal activities. And in 2014, according to Chatham House, France and Spain, ladies and gentlemen, spent millions of euros to bring back the hostages that are being captured by the Islamic State in Syria. Let me pose one simple question to all of you. Giving terrorists such millions of euros, what will they do? It is logic that the greatest weapon terrorists can have is the ability to recruit new members and foster their actions in this world. Giving them funds only makes them powerful to create more harm in this world. Simply because they will have the funds to buy the ammunition. They will have the funds to pay the people who work for them, ladies and gentlemen. Now tell me, is it necessary to engage in dialogue with terrorists? The answer is crystal clear. No. We don't need to negotiate with terrorists. As the United States says, we never negotiate with terrorists, ladies and gentlemen. Today, my team and I stand for the portion that we are caretakers of divine property, ladies and gentlemen. The protection of innocent human lives is what is the divine property. And if we negotiate with terrorists, something is going to happen. And that thing is the terrorists are likely going to get more power and very bad things are going to happen. It's going to be a tragedy of gigantic proportion. I rest my case.
Second proposal, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
My people, you can never change people's hearts with guns and other weapons. Remember that, members from the other side. Cecilia Ann from Ribe Girls High School. I'm here to strongly propose the motion that spells terrorist groups should be engaged in dialogues. My member from the other side said that dialogue will affect innocent lives. Hilarious. You see, it's like a house on fire. Let's imagine that, my people, a house on fire. Then we are all here beating, as in we want to put the fire off by throwing stones on the house that is on fire. Throwing stones, oh my God, it won't help. It won't put the fire out. And I've also heard you saying that dialogue is not the right answer or the right way to engage the terrorist groups. But I say it is the right way, my members. It is the right way. This is because through dialogue, lives are saved. Let's take an instance between the Israel and the Palestinian people. These people were not in good terms. Both of them had terrorist groups. The Palestine had the Hamas. On 11th October 2011, my people, the Palestine people took the soldier of Israel, Gilad Shalit, and put him as hostage. And to pay that back, Israelites took 1,027 hostages from the Palestine. And my people, let me shock you that among these people, there were innocent lives there. We see that there were Syrians and Ukrainians. These were innocent souls. I agree with that. But they went into negotiation. They went into dialogue. They did it during the 2011th on October. And this yielded a good result, because we see that on the 18th of the same month of the same year, we see that Israelites returned 477 Palestinians to their people, and Palestine people returned the Israel soldier to Cairo. So this is a good thing. It saves lives. It really saves lives. And on the same thing, on December 2011, the Israelites returned the rest of the Palestinian soldiers to the Palestine. So it saves lives. So, my people, force is not the answer to everything. On to my second point, I propose that dialogue is the best way to put the terrorist groups back because it reduces the rate of conflicts and wars, my people. And it also helps the government know the grievances of the terrorists because we see that through dialogue, the terrorists are able to add the grievances to the people, hence reducing terrorists attacks. With that, I raise my case.
Second opposer, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
Our founding father, Jomo Kenyatta, once said, peace is costly, but it worth the price. What does this mean? He meant one logic, that no matter the things that we're going to do in our country, at the end, it always has to bring a lasting solution. Our water opponents are speaking about dialogue saving lives. The question I'll ask you this day is, the time limit that people are doing dialogue about these peace resolutions, how many lives do we lose so far? How many lives are put on risk as we still in dialogue? Because this is what will happen when people are doing dialogues. The terrorists are going to attack. You as a country are going to keep quiet because you are doing dialogue. But they know one thing for sure is that they want to pressure you through the attacks. So in the real sense, it's not promoting saving of lives. You also said brings peace. I asked you, World War I and World War II, they were not resolved by dialogue, but by force. We can never use dialogue to terrorists. Who is a terrorist? These people's minds have been radicalized. They believe in extremism. So how can you trust a person who is pointing a gun at your head and you're on the sitting together at a table discussing about matters of national importance? I say no to that. Negotiating with terrorists, dialoguing with terrorists only proves their legitimacy. We as nations, we are supposed to be standing firm. We are supposed to be defending the rights of our people. We are supposed to be protecting the people that we were given to guide. Once you give these terrorist groups the platform to amplify their grievances, what they are going to do is that they are going to get more and more supporters outside there, which is going to bring more violence and more havoc in the country. According to Al Jazeera, one terrorist, that is Timothy, who was scheduled to be executed on May 10th this year, who was involved in an attack in USA, demanded, and I repeat, demanded that his execution be put or be broadcasted live on a national TV. But the states denied that fact and said, if they broadcast the execution live on broadcasting it on TV, it is just going to bring more violence because he's going to act as a martyr. He's going to act as a hero to the people. And what will be the effect? Violence to the people. The New Zealand Prime Minister said, I quote, this is after their country was attacked by a terrorist and she refused to say the name. The main reason is that she said she will not deny, and I repeat, she said she was going to deny that person their legitimacy because once she does that, it's going to bring havoc. If I conclude, which I must do, we should always apply the rule of law. We cannot apply the rule of law to somebody who is pointing a gun at your head. So the main thing that we're supposed to do is to use force. If they want force, we are going to apply force. If they want peace, we are going to bring peace unto them. So let's use force and not dialogue to help our people. I raise my case.
For the question session, the proposers have been asked, what if we have these dialogues, but the suspected terrorists do not keep their end of the bargain? What happens considering how inhumane their actions are? The opposers, on the other hand, have been asked, in the event that a terrorist or a suspect of terrorism is doing it not voluntarily but has been forced into the same actions, do we still punish them as mercilessly as those who get into it voluntarily? Third proposer, you have 3 minutes to respond.
Force is not an answer. I get my quotation from the Irish proverb. Thank you for the question from my learned friend. You asking what if they don't meet the bargain by the end of the negotiation? Well, I started by saying that force is not the answer to this violence. And I want to give you a good example. In the year 2007 and 2008, there was a very bad violent elections. And we lost a lot of lives in Kenya. But what happened when Kofi Annan came? He negotiated between the two parties, and they won. So that means that it is very much possible. And if they don't, actually, we are not like saying that we should use other means like fighting back in order to bring peace. We are looking on means on how we are going to bring peace. We are going to solve cases through peace. We are not actually saying that we should use military personnel to fight, to bring peace. But we are saying that there are other means of fighting this terrorism. Negotiation will bring back. You will be able to tell the terrorists will be able to air out their grievances. Like, what are the causes of this terrorism? We have political issues, religious issues. We have also social issues. What if these people, the social life, what of those who are engaging in terrorists because they lack employment? What if we give them employment? Don't you think we are going to solve these problems in a peaceful way, rather than fighting? Think of this. We are not saying that we should be using force because of this. Remember, force will kill both the innocent and those who are involved. And remember, these terrorists, they are not targeting to every person. They are only targeting to one person. What if we negotiate and we are able to give these terrorists what they want? Don't you think we are going to help and save many lives in this country or this world at large? In the Northern Ireland, there was this group of terrorists that was fighting against the country. And what this country did, they had to come together with different types of leaders, with different types of religious people, and they negotiated with the terrorists. And what happened at the end? They had come to a conclusion, but in a peaceful way. They had gotten a solution in a peaceful way, not like fighting. Fighting will bring about, it will even bring insecurity into our country. And you know very well the effects of insecurity. We will not be at a point to work in a country. It will also lower the chances of employment into our country, and therefore our economic will go lower and lower each and every day. For that, good for thought. And as you continue opposing the motion, think of the innocent people, think of yourself, and think of the future of yourself and other people. I rest my case.
Shadow Poser, you have 3 minutes to respond to your question.
Ladies and gentlemen, back again, Omar Hussein Sheikh. Just to answer your question, my esteemed audience, what about the cases that are not voluntary? I'll tell you this. There are many causes of people to join terror groups. And if you want to solve that, one of them is unemployment, poverty. If you want to solve terrorism, reduce poverty. But still, if you join a terror group and you kill my people and I am a government, I do not care who you are. I will kill you back, because my duty as a government is to protect the citizens of a country at any cost. To quote the greatest man that I know and I see, Sophocles, the end always justifies the means, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, the outcome that when we decide to talk with terrorists, the outcome is completely unpredictable. Take the case of Qatar, ladies and gentlemen. The case of the Taliban with the United States. There were mediation talks with Qatar as the arbitrator and mediator in those cases. And guess what? They came to agreements 3 times. And 3 times they broke those agreements. And 3 times they went to war with each other. Simple fact. It proves to us that dialogue is very unreliable, ladies and gentlemen. So, in short, dialogue has failed as a means of fighting terrorism. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we stand to preserve the human race and human life as a government. When we allow terrorists, if we want to sit down with them, we simply propagate and perpetuate the idea that they are legitimate. And if we do that, if they are legitimate, ladies and gentlemen, and our citizens, you see the government sitting down with terrorists, it reduces the respect you have for such a government. In short, it undermines a democracy. Because first, citizens will know that this country has failed to fight terrorists, so they have resorted to sitting down with them. Because first of all, ladies and gentlemen, a person who is sane will never choose violence first. But guess what? They chose it first. What are we supposed to do in order to save our people? When they have chosen to kill them, I will kill you back. Because it's my people we are talking about. You are not worth the lives of our people. You are not worth the lives of my people. So we will fight you back in order to preserve the democracy that we have, ladies and gentlemen. According to a research conducted by US in 2017, 60% of the Americans, ladies and gentlemen, supported Donald Trump's ban on Muslim countries. You know why? Very controversial indeed. But you know why? It's because the people have faith in their government. They know that their government is able to protect them. USA has fought against them, terrorist groups that is. And all said and done, ladies and gentlemen, it only comes down to one thing, one simple thing. What is a government willing to do to safeguard the integrity and the human rights of its people? Fight terrorism, no dialogue.
Proposers, you have 1 minute to make a final submission.
My good people, I know that you might be asking yourself why I'm dressed up in a sweater and a blazer too. And why I'm also shivering. It's not because it's cold, but it's because of their cold words. Why? Why not support dialogue as a means of promoting peace? Aren't we tired of seeing bloodshed on the ground? Aren't we tired of seeing our properties getting destroyed? It's so painful, my people. The reason as to why we are advocating for dialogue is because it's through dialogue that the government can get to know the interests of the terrorist groups. We can get to know why these people joined these terrorist groups. There are many reasons as to why they might have joined the terrorist groups. One reason could be maybe they had lacked jobs, or it's for protection for their families. But it's through dialogue that the government is going to get aware. The government can get awareness of the terrorist interest. I lose my inhibition, innocent ambition to recuperate the innate aspiration for the best of Mama Earth. This is the daughter, the sister, and mother of the nation, Mildred Akich from Ribe Girls High School.
Opposers, you have 1 minute to make a final submission.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a winter of despair. A winter of despair because they fail to agree with me that we already know the motive of terrorists, and that is to kill our people. It is a summer of hope, on the other hand, because my team and I have told you that when you shed the blood of my innocent people, I will not turn a blind eye. I will fight you back and retaliate. Because dialogue, ladies and gentlemen, like I have told you, Qatar have mediated talks with the Taliban and the United States, and they have failed dramatically. So why then are we still continuing to perpetuate the notion of dialogue with these people who have shown us that their entire and sole existence in this world, whether you have been recruited or not, is to kill the innocent people? The divine thing that we are given by the Almighty is human life. And I do not care who you are. As long as you kill an innocent soul without a reason, you are not exempted from being done the same. I rest my case.
Mildred, you could have again come out so well, if you gave details of the negotiation, it could have made your argument fully baked. Cecilia, you're a very passionate speaker. When you talk about Israel and Palestine, are we talking about governments negotiating with governments or governments and terrorist groups? So I felt you could have been a little specific, and then you give sources to your points. It makes you come out as a debater who has her thing on her fingers. Mapenzi, a very confident debater. I wanted you to, however, I felt you should have given more specific examples, and then you be time conscious. But then you're very confident and very articulate. You have all it takes.
Allidina, again, you're saying terrorist groups should not be engaged in dialogue. So we expected, if not dialogue, then what next? I think that was brought out by Jeremiah. And again, what was lacking, Omar made up for that. The first speaker, Stephen, the idea of not negotiating, but that came out quite well. So you did well as the first speaker to tell us about it's not through negotiating that we can have solutions, that solutions can be. The rebuttal also by Jeremiah was good. The idea of not glorifying terrorism came out quite well, that it's not about making them heroes. So dialogue would make them heroes. That again came out so powerful. And for Omar, you're an eloquent speaker. You made your submissions coherently, which made a good or a smooth flow of your ideas. And again, so many examples that you gave about mediators having failed, and you listed quite a number of examples. I think that was good research. Keep it up. May the best team win. Now to the results. Ribe girls, your efforts undue. 67.5%. Let's give them a round of applause. Allidina Visram, in this race to defend your title as regional champions, you earned 70%, making you the winners of this debate. Congratulations to both teams for making it to the semi-finals, and congratulations to Allidina for being greater in this debate.
Thank you so much for staying tuned to watch Kenya's #1 debate platform. Remember, you can also be part of the show by following the conversation across our social media platforms with the hashtag GDC for SDGs. Until the next episode, I've been your host, Chris Boru.
And I am Esperancia Kapanga.